So we're here at the National Symposium for Lay Ecclesial Ministry, and the questions that I'm posing to you are, first of all, given the presentation that we heard from Dr. Ammerman this evening, what do you think are the most significant challenges facing lay ecclesial ministry in this postmodern landscape?
I'm going to ask the two of you to respond first.
I think one of them is because of the diverse Asian cultures that we're dealing with, or diverse Asian Pacific cultures that we're dealing with. It is really matching competent pastoral leaders with the communities. Some of these communities come from countries that are not Catholic, so they have they come with a different journey of faith, different sense of what it is to be Catholic. For instance, my Indonesian group in Chicago think it is a must for them to meet monthly with the other Christian groups because they come from Indonesia. And it's, as we know, it's a Muslim country. So they have to continue that kind of fellowship while they're here in Chicago. And we encourage them to do that. The other thing that I find most challenging with Dr. Ammerman's presentation is how do we engage the young people to become lay ecclesial ministers? For instance, in Chicago, we're thinking of doing a primer for newly arrived Filipino Catholics. Filipinos are 86% Catholic. So then you can just imagine the number of young people who are lost. They have nobody to talk to. So the first 2 months, they're disconnected already. And these are the kinds of young people who can eventually enrich the local parish because they do have a lot of parish experience in the Philippines. So we're planning to write a primer for them. But of course, we're not forgetting the young adults who have never really known much about how it is to be a Catholic and what the Catholic Church is all about. Yeah, so those two.
Thank you.
In a parish level, what I see was the fact of this, also the changing, communities coming in, and the fact that having to get the formation of the people for these different groups coming in would be not entirely, I would say, different in the formation of the of what we would have with the dominant groups, because one of the things, learning the culture, and in our culture, it's kind of like different of the calling and what we may consider the credentials for the dominant group here would not probably be the acceptable credentials within the community of the Asian Pacific. So that's something that we would need to work on as we learn about this, that we have to be conscious of the fact that cultures do make a lot of difference in the formation of the lay ecclesial ministers.
Okay.
I think one of the challenges with immigrant groups, including the Asian Pacific groups, is we're Catholic at different levels. And there are some of us from Asia who have been Christianized only for the last 50 or 60 years. And there are some, like the Filipinos, we have been Catholics for the last 450 years. So there's this difference in terms of the level of understanding and the level of spirituality, our understanding of spirituality from coming from these different groups. In the same manner as the Latinos, for example, the Filipinos and the Latinos, we were Christianized by the Spaniards, and therefore we see more similarities. The Filipinos see more similarities with the Latinos than we do see similarities with the Chinese or with the Catholic Vietnamese, because we have a whole different orientation to the practice of faith and the way we interpret scripture. So there's that to me, the various levels and the various perspectives of Catholicism from different groups. Then one challenge also is just the concept of lay ministry. In many of our countries, we're very clerical. It's only father or it's only sister who will do certain things. I remember very clearly one area in fact this was a year ago. I have a Filipino family. They have a new house. They wanted it blessed, and so they asked me if I knew a priest. And I said, which parish do you belong to? And they said, we belong to this parish. Actually, our house has been blessed, but it was blessed by a deacon. But we want a priest to come and bless, so we're looking for a priest. It's a whole different concept of the gifts that are now being raised up from the laity, and how many of our people are not used to that. And so the idea of, in fact, growing from among our communities lay leadership is itself a big challenge, because we're saying, no, that's only father.
That's the role of the ordained.
Right. So we have a lot of education that we need to do, that baptismal call is the source of lay ministry and involvement in the church. That's one. And then, of course, when we do have our people come forward and wanting to serve, there's this whole challenge of formation, because while we may have been very active as parish leaders, organizational leaders in our home countries, it's a whole different ballgame here. Even just the relationship between women and priests, for example, or the idea of young adults and youth being active in the church. The age factor plays a difference. The gender factor plays a difference. So formation of lay leadership is a critical factor.